Hey folks, it's Barry here. Welcome to my Virgin Kitchen. I'm really excited today to show you this video that I worked on with McDonald's, which is split into several sections. But first, I wanted to tell you I was genuinely fascinated for this day out and agreed to do this video. For me as a parent, every couple of months, we take the girls to McDonald's as a treat for a Happy Meal, and especially here in the UK, there's definitely been an improvement in the perception McDonald's gives to the public. Well, apart from those bad jokes that Phoebe gets from the books.
What did the traffic light say to the car? Don't look, I'm changing.
McDonald's has included 55 million books in their Happy Meals since 2012. It's not every day a company lets you see behind closed doors what goes on, and it was a chance to actually find out what the girls were eating. Chicken nuggets got a pretty bad reputation in the past, so by visiting I could educate myself and you guys too about where the food is sourced. In this video we head to a potato farm, see how the nuggets are made in the UK, visit a McDonald's to experience life in the kitchen myself before finishing off with a homemade spin on chicken nuggets and fries recipe right here in the kitchen. I hope you find this video interesting. Let's get cracking. I headed up by train the night before and got into my hotel room, grabbed the camera and just wanted to tell you my thoughts. I was talking to a few people on the train and also the lady when I checked into the hotel, and she was like, how cool is that McDonald's are actually letting you behind the scenes to see, they're actually saying, hey, come and check it out for yourself and, get your own opinion. And hopefully tomorrow that is what I'll get. I'm going to be completely honest with you guys. It is what it is. And I'm genuinely intrigued about tomorrow. Folks, you couldn't make it up. Right outside my hotel window. Oh, wow, it's got that whole baubley Bocalicious effect. I'm just going to bring it into focus. There is an actual McDonald's right there. So I've just woke up. I'm ready to go. And I've sort of had a flashback. So when I was a kid, there used to be these McDonald's parties where you could go and learn how the burgers were made. I never got to go to some of those parties, but my friends did. But doing this today, I think it's cranking that up to 11. Let's get going. My first stop was to one of the many potato farms in the UK that help provide their fries to restaurants all year round. The owner of the farm, the very pleasant James, told me so much about potatoes during my time here, I feel like I have a degree in spuds now. The University of Potatoes. Anyhow, James told me all about the different variety of potatoes used. These ones were russet potatoes. They actually use quite a lot of technology to help speed up the labour, including drones to survey the land and this very expensive potato harvester that carefully scoops up the potatoes. Although it did kind of get stuck in a puddle on the day, I'm told that doesn't happen very often. But James was still keen to do a bit of manual digging on the day so I could get my hands on some spuds. Being in the harvester was fun. I could watch the potatoes being scooped, sifted from the soil and deposited into the back of the harvester. When it's full, another tractor pulls up alongside and the potatoes are taken away. It's rubber lined too, so the potatoes do not get damaged. Trust me, these guys know their spuds. So the potatoes are in rows like so, and they're being harvested in the background where I was just in. And once it's left, this is what you get, and then the cycle just begins again. The potatoes are measured to ensure they are long enough for the fries in the restaurant. Those that do not make the cut, excuse the pun, are not wasted but shipped off and used for things like hash browns. The ones that make the grade go off to the folks at McCain who cut them into fries and part fry them, then freeze, ready to be sent to the restaurants all over the UK. So I've got my potatoes, can't say fresher than that, and they're coming on the train home with me. Yep, so I actually used those potatoes in just a bit to do my own homemade version, but here's a few facts that I picked up whilst wandering around the farm. Across the UK, you can swap fries for carrot sticks or a fruit bag in a Happy Meal. 1 tonne of seed creates over 20 tonnes of potatoes. Each batch of potatoes has its very own passport with every little bit about the potato itself on there. McDonald's takes a virtual reality harvester to family events called Follow Our Footsteps. Next up on my day out, it was time to see where the chicken nuggets are made. So for this, understandably, hygiene was of the highest order. We were all suited and booted, having to put the clothing on in a particular order and then cleaning ourselves and boots thoroughly before entering where the nuggets were made. I'm not sure what I was expecting, to be honest. I thought it was going to be a bit more complex, but the actual structure to how the nuggets are made is very simple and the stations in the factory replicate that. The chicken breast comes in and is inspected by hand before being turned into chicken mince. Now the folks at McDonald's are happy to show this, but said it was optional, but I did want to include it. So I saw chicken mince being created, but this is chicken mince too. It is exactly the same thing, but just on a bigger scale. That's it. Just chicken breast grinded up and marinated. Yep, marinated for extra flavour. It is then compressed and flattened to make pressing the nugget shapes achievable. There are a variety of stages here with a gentle breadcrumb and batter, then flash fry before going through a slow freezer and ready to be bagged up. Inspections are frequently carried out for quality, things like size, taste and appearance, and they have the exact same machines as in the restaurant and cook them the same way. This was a great excuse to try some of the freshest chicken nuggets I'll ever have. You know, the whole simplicity of the experience was actually pretty reassuring. So I've just come out of the chicken nugget place, which is what the technical name I'm going to call it, and I am genuinely amazed at the simplicity of that process. All those horror stories you hear online are genuinely like false. I can't obviously convince you that 100%, you would need to come here for yourself, but luckily I've been given the access, so have a look, make up your mind. Here are some facts I picked up during this visit. The only chicken meat McDonald's uses is breast meat on the entire menu, and the suppliers meet strict welfare standards. McDonald's has reduced the salt in the average Happy Meal by more than 47%. There was a time when the nuggets years ago did contain thigh meat too, but it was a little darker in colour. They switched to just chicken breast. McDonald's actually stamped the chicken nuggets into 4 different nugget shapes. I always thought it was just one. Okay, so last up on the day trip was the chance to go into a McDonald's restaurant and cook up the fries and nuggets. I met the lovely Dee, who was very patient with me, as you'll see, and showed me how it all worked. I cooked up nuggets straight from the blue bags I'd seen them packaged in earlier that day, which was pretty simple in that they went in for a few minutes before lifting out, scattering onto a new tray. That tray was then carried to a section closer to the counter to remain warm and ready to serve. When it came to serving them up, it was a little bit fiddly. I mean, you guys know what I'm like with cling film, so I had no hope, but I did get there in the end. I then took on the challenge of doing my own chicken wrap, which seemed an art in itself, but to be fair, I did manage to pull that one out of the bag. Making the fries was fun. They had a cool little chute thing that served up the right portion for the fryer. But when they were cooked, that shaky thing to get the portions out, I think I was going for a bit of a half portion with mine, I suppose. With my order complete, I then boxed up the Happy Meal with the nuggets, book and fries. That's a kid's portion, that's enough, all right? But the hardest thing was closing the box. Dee helped me with that in the end. It was surprisingly tricky, but it tasted good. But don't forget, you can swap them for carrot sticks or apple pieces. I'm gonna have one of these. Did I do all right? Perfect. See? There's luck for me, yeah. I'm happy with it, yeah. Thanks very much. Now, we normally use the drive-through, but Dee showed me the screens in the restaurant so you can personalise your order, like fries with no salt, omit a fizzy drink and replace with organic milk or water, or even add an extra fruit bag to a meal. They also do a table service now, which is pretty cool. Simply place your order and pay, and they'll bring it to you. That's pretty darn cool. It's kind of like an indoor drive-through. So apparently that was during a quiet period, but I found it blooming bonkers indeed. I have a newfound respect to Dee and all of her work colleagues across the UK. Here's some facts that I found out here. The beef in all burgers, just like the pork, is 100% British and Irish, and all the pork on the menu is from British RSPCA assured farms. Frying wise, McDonald's have reduced the saturated fat in their cooking oil by 83% in recent years. Over 17,500 farms in the UK come together to source many of the ingredients on the McDonald's menu. So that was one heck of a day out, and yes, I did carry that sack of potatoes on the train all the way home, and I did get some funny looks on there. That man is carrying potatoes on a train? Whatever next? So here's my little twist on making chicken nuggets and fries at home. To make the chicken nuggets, I got hold of some chicken mince, which, as I explained earlier, is just like we saw on our visit. The seasoning I put into the coating, which is a mix of flour and tempura mix with salt, pepper, garlic, onion, and celery powder. Now, when I saw the nuggets being made, there was 100% the smell, the waft of celery in the air, because Philip was really excited about it, almost as excited as I get about celery. He was like, smell that. I was like, that's celery, Philip. I know that smell. So you just mix all of those ingredients together into a Ziploc bag. The chicken is then mushed together into a bowl and then rolled between 2 sheets of baking parchment to get it nice and thin. And then I made it into nugget shapes. I did that step by hand, but thinking about it, using something like cookie cutters would be amazing. You could do your own custom shapes. Dip the nugget shapes into some beaten egg, then place into the Ziploc bag and shake to coat. We then repeat this step again for a second coat, then just like I discovered on my visit, we freeze them to help firm them up and hold their shape. After the hour, get the vegetable oil hot and ready to do a final dunk in the egg and flour, and then simply fry until golden brown. Do them in small batches at a time. Just like in the restaurants, we shove that in the oven for 10 minutes to warm through. Absolutely gorgeous. Meanwhile, the fries I'm going to oven bake because it's simply my preferred way. So I'm taking those actual McDonald's potatoes that have been cleaned up, scrubbed and peeled and simply slicing them into thin matchstick shapes. Pat away any excess starch and then drizzle olive oil all over and bake, turning once until golden brown. Just a sprinkle of salt is all that's needed, and of course, just like in the McDonald's restaurant, optional. So there we are, my taste on homemade chicken nuggets and French fries. Bloomin' gorgeous. So I genuinely hope you found this video as interesting as I did. I got so much footage, I could have made it into like an hour-long feature film. Maybe I'll have to do a follow-up sequel or something like that. But possibly it has changed your perception of McDonald's here in the UK. It certainly has mine. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. That rhymes. It was not intentional, but thanks for watching.